Over briefing for Thursday, the 11th of May. I'm Stephen Ridgway. Microsoft has fixed a failed patch for the unexploited Outlook vulnerability. So the bug was being tracked as CVE 2023-23397. Basically, the patch that was previously rolled out and they rolled out to address what they were then calling CVE 2023-29324, was patched in this month's Patch Tuesday. However, very simple changes can invalidate the the patch. So there is another update to that. If you're using Outlook, recommend you have a look at the article. Explains what needs to be done. So we will link that one. So there is a new ransomware decryptor known as White Phoenix, which is capable of decrypting intermittently encrypted data. So intermittently encrypted data, ransomware technique that speeds up the process of encrypting your data or your hard drive or whatever it may be, by instead of encrypting all of a file, it encrypts a certain number of bits, then skip some, then encrypt some, then skip some. So if you're actually only encrypting 50% of the file, then you are going to be running your encryption about twice as fast, which is a good thing because as you know from the defensive perspective, if you can catch things in the act of encrypting and stop them, you may have a whole load of stuff that is still recoverable. So can see why partial encryption is seen as a good thing from the point of view of an attacker. However, that then leaves some weaknesses in the process, and according to CyberArk, who've developed the White Phoenix decryptor, that they can leverage the weaknesses in the encryption in order to recover partially encrypted files. So a little bit of good news. So the automated data recovery should work for Black Cat or Alphiv, Play ransomware, Killing Agenda, Bayern Lion, Darkbit, potentially others as well. Won't guarantee to recover everything, but it may just be able to help you to get back some things if you have been hit by one of these pieces of ransomware. Bit of good news, Google is bringing dark web monitoring to Gmail users. Currently rolled out in the US, but hopefully will be a feature that will be made globally available. It will allow Gmail users to scan the dark web for email addresses and take action to protect data. What that action is, of course, it doesn't say, but to know whether you have been swept up in some or other breach is quite useful. There are other services that provide this stuff as well. So I think some endpoint protection suites offer this. Some VPNs offer this as well. Credit scoring organizations, if you subscribe, can do this too. However, it's not a bad thing at all to have a better view of what's floating around in the dark web with your name on it. So good stuff to Google, and let's encourage them to release that to the rest of the world. Twitter is adding a new direct messaging features. I believe that is actually. I don't think they're necessarily dishonest. I think they're just occasionally incompetent. Oh dear. So Um, well, yes. So directly aimed like Apple's iMessage. So uh, the idea is, yes, it is encrypted. I think, as with all things Twitter at the moment, use at your own risk. Um, so, Elon saying encrypted messages arrived today, as in the article it says, is no guarantee that that's actually the case. And don't just assume that the stuff is private until we've got some evidence that it really is. Twitter's having a hard time at the moment. Well, seeing as Twitter is a cesspool at the best of times, in my opinion. If you like Twitter, good for you. But in my opinion, it is an appalling place full of people that are just shouting and screaming in an echo chamber. So I honestly don't care. Finally, from me, any of you who have been in the game for a while will be aware of the concept of hiding Easter eggs in code. Well, it appears that Kingston SSD firmware has an Easter egg in it. It's got lyrics of a popular Coldplay song buried deep within it. So if you want to know more about that, there is an article that shows how you can find the lyrics. The reason I bring it up, partly because it's amusing, and partly because it does just go to show that you don't really know what's in the software that you're installing. And this is firmware, right? So this is pretty low down in the stack. So we've been talking a little bit about potential issues with firmware updates, and ensuring that you're installing signed and legitimate ones, and certain problems, and so on and so forth. Well, here's an example of something where the people that actually wrote it, signed it, and released it either weren't aware of what was in it, or were in on the joke. Who knows? Whichever way. But if you're a Coldplay fan, then maybe you want to go and buy some Kingston memory. Well, that is all from me today. Hope you have a really good Thursday, and I will speak to you again.